Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Empath Butterflies Tarot. Yes, you guys can see my face because normally I just show my hands, right? But the reason why I'm doing this personal reading for you all is because I had a conversation a few weeks back with my sister Nikki K, and she said to me, why don't you do a video about Saturn going into Aquarius? And when I heard that, I thought, you know what, that sounds cool, that sounds dope, but you know, my schedule was a little bit full. So I thought once my schedule eases out a bit, then I will incorporate that reading. But I made a mental note of it, like I'm definitely going to do that. Now, for those of you that aren't aware, Saturn is actually retrograded into the sign of Aquarius. It was in Capricorn, and in the next 3 months, it will go back into Capricorn, right? Now, as you all may know, Saturn has gone into the sign of Aquarius, which is Saturn's home sign, right, as well as Capricorn's home sign. So Aquarius is actually ruled by the planet Uranus, right, but it's also ruled by the planet Saturn also. Now, Saturn retrograding into Aquarius on the 21st of March has spelled the start of self-isolation here in the UK. Now, I know in other parts of the world people were in self-isolation, they were in lockdown, but here in the UK it was really enforced that, you know, we have to self-isolate, we all have to stay at home. And, you know, the two, you know, marry with each other, you know, Saturn being the planet of rules, regulations and restrictions, and it being in the sign of Aquarius, a sign that likes to, you know, detach and isolate, right? So, as I mentioned before, Saturn is that planet of rules, regulations, responsibility, restrictions and blockages. Authority and authoritative figures. People in high positions come to mind when you think about Saturn. Okay. And when I think of the energy of Saturn, I think of like a headmaster, an energy which imposes rules upon us all. Saturn is associated with hard work, resilience and discipline. Saturn rules karma, the law of cause and effect. It is the planet that allows the soul to transform after going through harsh lessons brought on by Saturn. Now, guys, if I keep looking down, it's because I've written notes. Okay, so excuse me. All right. So again, as I mentioned before, Saturn is all about harsh lessons. Okay, and this is especially true after we all experience our Saturn return. And those of you that are past the age of 30 will know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about Saturn return. Okay, I'm 36 going on 37, so I've experienced my second Saturn return. Okay, so after experience our Saturn return, we come out changed, a shadow of our former selves, transformed and renewed for the good or for the bad. This can be said of Saturn transiting your chart. Even if you're not going through a Saturn return, as Saturn is transiting your chart, you will still feel the effects. Okay, so what does it mean for us all now that Saturn has retrograded into Aquarius? Let's talk a little bit about Aquarius. Aquarius represents detachment, rebellion, being eccentric, brotherhood, having futuristic ideas, the internet. Now that Saturn is in the sign of Aquarius, what does that mean for us all? Well, my understanding means that Saturn in Aquarius will mean that there may be restrictions placed upon our free will. There will be a level of discipline over who and how we socialize, which we're all experiencing now. Okay. In-depth studies and research of revolutionary ideas, because Aquarius do represent revolutionary ideas. Okay. Research on the internet, a lot of interest and enrollment for online courses. We may feel that we are given too much space from connecting with others, which is true. You know, some of us are in isolation from our parents, in isolation from our friends and our family. Okay. Maybe wanting to gain closeness with others, but not knowing how to. Remember, Saturn is a karmatic planet ruling cause and effect. So one feeling and facing some sort of harsh lesson of wanting to be alone and facing restrictions and blockages when wanting to connect and be close. So like I said, Saturn now being in Aquarius represents for us all, you know, the harshness of wanting to be alone, such as an Aquarius. Aquariuses are very detached individuals. And now we're forced to be alone, you know, because of being isolated. So I feel like with Saturn being in Aquarius, that's some sort of heavy karmatic experience that we are all facing as a collective. All right. Perhaps the lesson with Saturn in Aquarius for us all is to be appreciative for what we take for granted, socializing, bonding, and although we require our own space, we will learn how to find a balance. Now, Saturn in Aquarius at this time for us all aims to restrict the wildness within us all, to go through a solitary path, and to bring our plans and eccentric ideas into reality. So I also feel, because that's my own take on it, right? I also feel that this time will force us to expand on our ideas that we've been putting off for a long time. We have no choice but to face ourselves. We have no choice but to face the things that we've been putting off in pursuit of work, you know, life. Now we are forced to get in touch with ourselves, ground ourselves, learn about ourselves, and transform. Okay. Now I'm going to be talking about all the signs and how Saturn will affect all the signs. Okay. Saturn in Aquarius for Aquarius. This will be in Aquarius's first house of self. All right. So it's going to be in your first house, Aquarius. It may make an Aquarius pay more attention to how they present themselves to others. You may want to have a more mature look. This could include cutting your hair or changing your dress sense. All right, so you may decide that you want to wear more office-like clothes, pencil skirts. Okay, you may want to cut your hair in a bob. Okay, you may begin to attract and be more interested with people as creative as yourself, but people that are in high positions. You may find that higher ups and people in authority will be drawn to you, okay, more now than before. So even if people in higher authorities were drawn to you before, you may get more people within that sort of area be even more so drawn to you. Okay, this will be a time for your focus not to be scattered. Okay, so this could mean focusing on a project, one project at a time, as opposed to dipping your hands in so many pies and getting overwhelmed and not completing them at all, Aquarius. Okay, in regards to your love life, you will still desire to have your sense of freedom. Doesn't surprise me, Aquarius. But you will want to stick with one partner and will want to still have your space when you need it. This could be a time of connecting with love partners older than yourself. So you may find that you may go for people that are older than you, or you may want to, you know, take a relationship to the next level as well. Okay. Some of you may connect with friends that are older than you also, colleagues also, that you feel that you can learn from. This is a time for you to mature, a time you will see yourself mature, and you will find that you have inner growth from within. Some of you may want to tie the knot at this time, as mentioned before, and may want to stay single, or some of you may want to stay single indefinitely. So even if some of you decide that, you know what, I want to take the relationship to the next level, I want to marry my partner, you will still want that level of independence. Okay. Now, let's move on to Saturn in Aquarius for Capricorn. Now, for you, Capricorn, this is going to be in your second house. The second house rules money. There may be original but practical ways that you may decide and choose to make money, Capricorn. Some of you may decide to do something unorthodox in order to make money. Okay, you should make money during this time. And money may come to you in a very strange way as well. And when I say strange way, some of you may, like I said, may do a job that is quite unorthodox, and you may find that your gaining a lot of abundance within this area. Some of you may do something or decide to do something that people think, why are you doing that for? Like, it's not you. And you may feel to yourself that it's always been a hidden passion, or it may just be, for instance, say you work in a corporate environment. You may decide that on the weekend you want to work in a circus. That's just say, and you may gain money from this circus act that you may put on. That's just an example, right? You'll be looking at ways in how you can keep a hold of your money as well, because remember, the energy of Aquarius will be in your second house of money, and Aquarius is ruled by Uranus. Uranus is a very unorthodox, erratic planet, and with that energy being in your house of money, you will have to keep an eye on your finances, all right? Because as quickly as you make money, it may slip through your fingers. However, you will gain a lot of money as well in miraculous ways, all right? Guard against splashing the cash, Capricorn, as well. You will look to invest in projects now in a very objective way, and you'll be more cautious than before in regards of your future investments. Okay, so you'll only invest in areas of your life, right, in work, if you feel that it's going to be beneficial more than you have done so before. So in the past, you may have done jobs that just pay the bills, but now you may be thinking to yourself, I'm not going to do that job unless it gives me a certain amount of money, unless I make such and such profit. All right, some of you during this time may purchase a new home, which may shock others, or you may move in with friends, or you may purchase a home with friends. Okay, so this will be a time where in regards to money, you'll be very cautious, but you may be eccentric at the same time. Some of you may decide to just buy a property or just move in with someone, or get someone to move in with you, is what I'm seeing here for you, Capricorn. All right. So Saturn in Aquarius for Sagittarius, this is going to be in your third house of communication. So for you, Sagittarius, Saturn will transit your third house. You may find that during this transit, you could be communicating more with siblings, friends and neighbors, connecting with family also. You may decide to collaborate with siblings or friends who are like family. You could find that there could also be disagreements with friends, or your ideas and thoughts could be shut down by friends and family. All right. This will also be a time to share your thoughts and feelings, and also bond with your community, your neighbors, your friends. This could be a time where you decide to take some sort of course of study as well. If you've been putting learning about something off, this could be a time where you will actually think to yourself, you know what, I actually want to do that online course, or I actually want to go back to college. Okay. Many Sagittarians may decide to start a blog during this time, which will be a very good idea. Their own vlog, a YouTube channel, and work closely with the media. Some Sagittarians may decide to move into jobs that require having to communicate, such as doing sales. All right. In terms of love, you may find a long-lasting commitment online, or you may have a relationship with someone where communication is at the forefront of the connection. Some of you may also, get into relationships with close family friends, people, or someone from your neighborhood. Okay, because third house rules communication. It also rules siblings, neighborhood, and friends. Okay, so let's move on to Saturn in Aquarius for Scorpio. So for you, Scorpio, this will be transiting your fourth house, and fourth house rules home. You may find that you may move home or begin to decorate your home in a very eccentric Aquarian-like way, right? Some of you may decide to work from home, and may find that when Saturn goes into Aquarius for 2 years on the 17th of December, some of you may notice that you are having more friends and family around at your home during this time. Some of you may decide to settle down and introduce a new addition to the family. This could be a surprise pregnancy for some of you within the next 2 years, or even this next 3 months that we are experiencing Saturn in Aquarius. Okay, some of you may move in with a partner very suddenly, or a partner may suddenly move in with you. Some of you that are parents and have children already will find that you are spending more time with your children. Some of you may all decide to homeschool your children. And I know most of you could be homeschooling your children in the now because we're all on lockdown. I, for one, am homeschooling, see, getting tongue-tied, my children as well. I have an 11-year-old and I have an 18-year-old, okay? And I'm finding it quite fun, okay? So let's move on. So some of you may decide after being in lockdown, sorry guys, I keep fidgeting, you know, I'm trying to find the most comfortable position. I hope I'm not distracting you all. All right. So some of you may find like after, you know, this whole lockdown thing that you actually want to homeschool your children indefinitely. This is going to be the case for some of you. For those of you who have children, you may try and reinforce new rules within the home. Your children may come. It may come as a shock to your children, especially if there were no rules previously. So you may find that during this time, you may want to try and enforce some real, you know, rules and regulations to your children within the household. And your children, if they have not had any sort of set boundaries beforehand, they may find this very restrictive and they may rebel. Okay. So this, you know, if you decide to do this, I feel like it has to be done in a very easy way, easy, calm way. And it has to happen gradually as opposed to it happen drastically, because it could happen drastically with Aquarius being in Saturn. So Saturn is all about rules and Aquarius is all about rebellion. That's why I paired the two together. Okay. So for you, Scorpio, to sum it up, to clarify what I just mentioned, some of you will be spending a lot of time. Sorry, Scorpio. Yeah. Some of you will be spending a lot of time at home. Some of you may, you know, have a new addition in the family. Some of you may even want to adopt or foster. Okay, that's another possibility, right? Some of you could have a child during this time, this next 3 months or the next 2 years when Saturn does go into Aquarius indefinitely in December. Some of you may move in with a partner or a partner could move in with you, okay? So let's move on to Saturn in Aquarius for Libra, which will be in your 5th house of love, creativity, children, and romance. Same as love, all right? All right, so for you, Libra, with Saturn transiting your 5th house, Libra, you may find that you are being more creative than before. You may feel at times that certain projects may take its time for, you know, for you to really get it off the ground, because remember, Saturn is all about rules and restrictions, right? And blockages. So with Saturn being in the 5th house, I know for myself, right? When Saturn was in my 5th house as a Leo, and I'm, you know, if you are a Leo with Libra in your chart, because I've got Libra rising, I found it very restrictive for me. Okay. And Saturn was in Sagittarius at that time, and Sagittarius is a fellow fire sign. It's the cousin of Leo, but at the same time, Saturn being in Sagittarius wasn't a comfortable placement for Sagittarius. So it was very restrictive for Sagittarius and very restrictive for me as a Leo. I felt that in terms of my creativity, in terms of expressing myself, in terms of being in a relationship with the person I was with at the time, it was very blocked. It was everything was like shut down. I was like trying to push in different areas of my life and things weren't really working for me, you know. But with Aquarius being like a very flighty energy, a very detached energy, and being the cousin of Libra, I feel that it won't be as restrictive for you because, you know, it was almost like, and the thing is, it was fire and earth, and fire and earth don't mix when Saturn was in Sagittarius. It does not mix. Whereas earth and air, not really, but at the same time, earth can, earth and air with Saturn being this, I always associate Saturn with earth, you know, Capricorn, restrictive, etc. Obviously, Saturn is not an earth planet, but the sign that represents Saturn is an earth sign, which is Capricorn. And Aquarius, it being its home placement anyway, but Aquarius being an air sign, I feel like they can just about get along. So it's not going to be as restrictive as it was for like a Leo when Saturn was in its 5th house, right? I went around the park with that one, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea, right? So you may feel at times, Libra, that in certain aspects of your career, of your love life, things are quite restrictive, but you will still have the energy and the willpower to pull through that. It's not going to be as burdensome, okay? It will just take you that little bit of effort to just work through it, okay? So with Aquarius being in this house, it will give you original ideas of how to navigate through these thoughts and feelings, as I mentioned before. So although you may find blockages in certain areas, Libra, you know, you will still take on the energies of Aquarius to navigate your way through it, all right? You may find that during this time that you come up with original ideas, okay? And with Saturn being in this house, it will give you the courage to see these ideas through. Because remember, the energy of Aquarius can be one of, you know, abandoning an idea halfway through, or having too much ideas, too much plans, and then not knowing which one to target first. But with Saturn in that, you know, being in the sign of Aquarius in the now, and being a planet of sticking to, you know, rules and regulations, not taking any shortcuts, there's going to be no way that you will abandon a project or an idea. Even though you may find, oh, you know, I feel quite trapped or restricted in this area, you will still navigate your way through with the determination energy of Saturn, all right? Some of you may focus on expressing yourself through creativity, such as taking up acting lessons, you know, showing an interest in theatre, dance and music. Some of you, if you are creative already, may choose to expand on your creativity during this time. This could mean focusing on singing, dancing, creating art, modeling, being very creative at home in the kitchen, preparing more exotic meals, playing around with different recipes. Some of you may decide to bake during this time and find pleasure in doing so, which is positive. This could also be a time of you being in the public eye because of your creativity, and you may shock others with your way of doing things, okay? Sport may be of a huge importance for you during this time, Libra, as it is a form of self-expression. I don't know, there's no Mercury in retrograde. I don't know what's going on with me, you know. So you may find that you can take up a sport or decide to go to the gym, which may shock others. You may excel in sport during this time, and you will find original ways of doing so, and you will realize that you have to put in the hard work to achieve your dream, and it's not just going to be handed to you. So this is going to be a time for you to really stick to, you know, whatever projects or activities or creative outlets that you have. It's going to be a time to see them through. So in the past, maybe you started something up creative and, you know, you done things half-heartedly. Now with Saturn being in your 5th house, this is going to be a time where you are going to be taking things a little bit serious, okay? So some of you, for instance, may have just painted for the fun of it, but now with Saturn being in your 5th house of creativity, you may decide to, you know what, I'm actually going to sell my pictures, or I'm actually going to find an agent, right? I'm actually going to release my songs, okay? Anything you do around forms of expressions will be part of your destiny within the future. In terms of love, you may have a sudden love affair with someone who is eccentric. People, even yourself, Libra, may be shocked with your choice of partner, but you may find that this new relationship goes the distance. You may find very inventive ways of keeping your love life fresh, okay? So don't be surprised, Libra, if you... Let me just get some water. Don't be surprised if you end up with somebody that is eccentric, very Aquarian, like you may even end up with an Aquarius individual. For some of you, let's see what else. Again, you may end up in a relationship that is unorthodox, which may shock people, okay? And you may even shock yourself by being with a specific person, okay? Some of you may even have a very, you know, eccentric relationship. Could be very Uranian, where it's on and off again for some of you, and some of you may suddenly conceive a child during this time, okay? So if that's not what you want to happen, then you guys know what you need to do, but babies are a blessing. I always say that. And some of you, again, may get into a relationship that is non-traditional. So you may have some sort of spiritual marriage, or you may be married but live separately, or something along them lines, right? And some of you may have long distance relationships that you and your person are both happy about. Some of you may find yourself in friendships and relationships with people who are Aquariuses, as mentioned before, finding out this time that your relationships and friendships may have a very unorthodox approach, but have long lasting connections with each other. Whatever is started now, with Saturn being in Aquarius and with it transiting your 5th house, it will start suddenly and it will be original. It will have durability and staying power. Okay, let me just take some water. Okay, for Virgo, Saturn transit in your 6th house of service, your ruling house. For you, Virgo, you may find that you are collaborating with others, much different from yourself. You may go into a line of work, such as working in a medical field, such as being a doctor, a nurse, a midwife, or something around pharmacy. You may decide to do a course around health and social care during this time, or a course in fitness and health. Right, very Virgo-like. You may work in environments which require you to be of a team player, especially if you prefer to work alone in the past. This may be a time when you find that you may still require your own space from time to time whilst at work, but you will, however, remain loyal to your colleagues and bosses by showing them how dependable and trustworthy that you are. So you will still require your own space with being a Virgo. Virgos sometimes like to work in solitude, and also with that Aquarian energy there, that level of detachment will still be present. Friends, colleagues, partners, family and friends may rely on you more now than ever, and you may find that you are serving them more now though than before. You may find that in terms of love relationships, you may be more demonstrative of offering your love by doing acts of service. Now, Virgos are very, very giving, right? But you may find that during this time, you are being more so demonstrative of your feelings, of your emotions, but at the same time you will want to retreat as well, right? Aquarius energy, remember. Okay, so you'll find that during this time you will be taking care of your loved ones and being there for your loved ones as well. As I mentioned before, you will also want your alone time. The lesson you may need to learn, Virgo, is to find a balance between being of service to others and having your own time alone for yourself when you need to. Okay. And some of you, again, just to clarify, may go into a field of wanting to help others. So maybe being a counselor, a doctor, a nurse, a midwife, or doing a course on health. Okay. Fitness, you know, is what I'm and even like something around, being like, maybe some of you might decide to be a chef. Maybe some of you, if you are parents, you may decide that you want to only cook vegetarian food or be a vegan. I don't know why it came to me for some of you. That's not for all of you because I stuttered there, so that's not for all of you, but this is what I'm getting for you, Virgos. Let's take a look at Leo, my sign. Okay, for Leo, Saturn will be transiting your 7th house for the next 3 months and will continue to do so from December 2020. 7th house is the house of relationships. Okay, so Saturn in Aquarius in the 7th house will be a time for Leos where they may suddenly start a love relationship or suddenly end a relationship. So there could be a lot of making up and breaking up during this time. Okay, and it could be done very suddenly. Your relationship may have a very eccentric tone to it, and you may have a relationship which others may not understand during this time. So, you know, you may decide to get into a relationship with someone, and people may be confused about this connection, Leo. I'm just going to be 100 with you. Who, like, where did you find them? Where did you pick them up from? Have you gone bonkers? You know, but you'll be like, but I love him. Do you understand what I mean? Or people will be like, how did you get him? Or how did you get... It'll be very unorthodox. Okay, your way of being in the relationship may be unorthodox to others. You may find that during this time you may want to take a relationship to a higher level of commitment, and you may move in with your partner, or your partner may move in with you. Some may marry during this time but realize that they may not want to be married after all. Some of you may decide to be in long-term commitments but may desire your own space. So things like long distance relationships may appeal to you. Okay, some of you may decide to be single during this transit, preferring your own company. Saturn in Aquarius in your 7th house will bind relationships and friendships, and some, as you know, as well as exposing hidden enemies, because Saturn in the 7th house is also about hidden enemies, all right, as well as the 6th house. 6th house is also about hidden enemies who you work with, right? And I feel, going back to Virgo, I feel like in terms of hidden enemies, I feel that you will have that energy around knowing who to stay away from, with Aquarius being in that 6th house. Okay. But going back to Leo, and even if you're on the Leo Virgo cusp, this can appeal to you also. Some of you may decide to cut people out that you feel are negative. So you will be very, because remember, Aquarius is all about detachment, isolating, and being comfortable on your own. So with Saturn being in your 7th house, you will be hip to the game if someone's trying to move, you know, dodgy around you. If you feel someone's got some sort of hidden agenda, you know, you will suss that person out, and you will feel no way to just cut that person off, you know. So it will be a win-win. But you may find that some people are jealous of your love relationship during this time. Some of you may decide to just date around and not have any serious commitment at all. After this transit, it will be a time for you to determine who is for you and who isn't, who is worthy of you to stay around and who isn't, as well as you will learn about your self-worth and what you will put up with. Okay, so some of you may be in connections with people that is a long distance, and you may not like that, and you may voice your, you know, your concern around this area and say to your partner, look, I don't really like this, you know, I think that this ain't working for me. And your partner may be in the energy of wanting to keep things the way it is, and during this transit you'll come to the realization of, you know, being true to yourself, understanding, you know, your worth, and knowing what you want and what you will put up with and what you will not put up with. And some of you may just end that connection. That's one reason why some of you may end a connection. Okay, because just because you'll be experiencing this energy, Saturn will be in your 7th house, doesn't mean you're going to be comfortable with it. Other people could be reenacting these type of energies around you. It's as to whether or not you know, are comfortable with it, or some of you may be happy with it. All right. As Saturn is the Lord of Karma and it's here in your 7th house, you may find lovers from your past coming back into your life, especially past lovers that you had unfinished business with. So there's going to be a lot of, like, I feel, unfinished business with yourself and ex-partners for some of you. Not for all of you. Don't be alarmed, because some of you may be thinking, I thought I left that person in 2010. Yes, that as well. But I'm just saying how I feel. This is my take on what I feel. I feel that, you know, because like I mentioned, with Saturn is that the Lord of Karma, it will bring past lovers or past experiences reenacted through present lovers back to the forefront, and it will show within you whether or not you've grown, if you've evolved from how you used to be. So for instance, check it, imagine you are in a new relationship and things are going a certain way, and it reminds you of ex-partner, and the reason why you and your ex-partner broke up is because the person you're with now is acting in the same way. If you decide to continue with that same theme that this new person's displaying, then you'll be trapped in your own karma. That means you haven't learnt your lesson. However, if you show that you've evolved, if you've grown and you make a change, then things will balance itself out for you. Okay. And for others of you, yes, people from the past may return because of unfinished business, and you may find that, you know, you're able to close a cycle with them, and you may evolve to a higher level of commitment with that person, or you may close out the cycle with them altogether. Okay, so you may find during this time that lessons will be learned through these meetings, such as taking things to the next level, being committed, or ending things for good, as I just mentioned before. Okay, now let's move on to Cancer. So Saturn and Aquarius for Cancer. Saturn will be transiting your 8th house, Cancer, which rules shared resources, sexual union, your money, other people's money, and transformation, money owed to you. With Saturn transiting your 8th house, you may find that during this time, you yourself may go through a transformation in regards to how you earn money. You may, for instance, have a shared account, or decide that you may want to have a bank account with your partner. Or for some of you, you may decide that if you have a bank account with your partner, you may decide that you want to have your own separate account. Remember that whole Aquarius energy, Aquarius being very detached and independent. You may feel to yourself, you know what? No, I need to have my own account. I don't want my partner to see how much I spend or how much I've got in there, how much I'm saving. It could be that type of energy. So be aware. Nothing to be scared of though. And for some of you, if you've been relying on others for money as well, right? Say you might be relying on your partner's wages. This may be a time of, you know, being a bit more independent in that area. This could be a time of you, you know, standing on your own 2 feet as well, okay? Or a partner may act that way towards you. You may suddenly become surprised that a partner says to you, look, I think I shouldn't be paying all the bills. I think that you should maybe go out and, you know, start providing or start bringing money into the home. Or you may find that, you know, a partner wants to even have separate bank accounts. You know, if you had a joint account already, you may see and feel like a partner is being quite detached and, you know, I wouldn't say secretive because it's not the house of secrets, okay, but they may want to be more independent in terms of their finances. So for instance, you may even feel to yourself that you may not want money from your partner anymore. If your partner's the one that's providing, you may say to your partner, look, I want to make my own bread. I don't want your money anymore. Nothing bad, but I just want to be more independent. It could be something like that. Also, some of you may encounter a shock inheritance or come into money that you were owed. Okay, so some of you during this time, you may be given some sort of inheritance that you didn't even think was, you know, you'll be even thought of. And some money that was owed to you from years back or even months back, you may find that during this time, and we are in tax season, that you are, you know, granted this money as well, which is very positive, okay? Also, pay careful attention at your finances, as there could be erratic transactions, maybe from yourself, which you may have forgotten about. Okay, because remember, Aquarius energy is in this house of money. Okay, and, you know, Aquarius is all about being, you know, drastic, erratic, eccentric, etc. So keep an eye on your finances, you know, because you may spend and purchase something and then forget, where did that money go? You may try and argue with your partner and your partner's like, you know, I didn't touch that money. I know that money's for the mortgage. Why are you arguing with me for? And that could even be one of the reasons why some of you decide to actually have your own separate accounts. And then you realize, oh my days, oh yeah, when I was out with my girls, we went to this bar and I bought do you understand? So just guys, okay, keep an eye on your finances, okay? But what else for you, Cancer? Okay, however, you may find during this time that you may receive money from unexpected sources, as covered before. You may find that during this transit, you may share your resources more so than before with friends or even your partner. So like, again, like if you were in the energies of, you know, you're going out with someone that is always splashing the cash on you, you may find that during this time, you want to be the one that's splashing the cash on your partner. You may find that yourself and your partner may connect more intimately during this time. You may want to introduce new ways of making love, but once you do that, you may feel that you both want to experiment more in the bedroom. So this could be a time for you all in terms of intimacy that you may want to be more eccentric. You know, you guys may, especially now that we're all in lockdown, you may find that you want to introduce new ways of love making, things that you always thought of doing before, but you may have been a bit shy about doing, or you may have felt that you had no time to do it because you had to work or your partner was working, etc. This is going to be a time where you may bring a more of a futuristic approach to your relationship. So for some of you, it could be a situation where you do a lot of, I don't know, phone sex for some of you, or, you know, you may, if your partner works away, you may, you know, send him sexy pictures or videos of you, or you may want to, I'm not promoting this is what's coming to mind because I'm taking on the energies of Aquarius. Aquarius is all about the future and the internet. You may decide to do your own film with your partner, okay, or you may decide to watch films with your partner, and that's going to turn you both on, is what I'm seeing here. You'll be very experimental, maybe trying out different positions that you felt a bit coy about before. This may be a time of you introducing that, because I feel that this is going to be a time for you and your partner to transform more sexually as well, but in a very experimental way. Some of you may even get into same-sex relationships at this time, okay? Saturn in Aquarius for Gemini, okay? So for you, Gemini, it will be transiting your 9th house. 9th house is all about higher learning, beliefs, religion, travel, and philosophy. So for you, Gemini, you may decide to go back to college and learn a course of study that focuses focuses on spirituality. Okay, so this is a time for you, Gemini. I feel that you may want to get in touch with yourself more spiritually, because Geminis can be quite in the mind, very logical, and ninth house is actually ruled by Sagittarius, and Sagittarius are very, you know, they have a lot of, you know, they're into spirituality, higher learning and travel. So you'll be taking on that Sagittarius energy, as well as that Saturnian like energy as well, of sticking to the rules, the regulations, you know, the plans that you've made for yourself, having some sort of structure, as well as that Gemini energy as well, which is all about the mind, all about logic and thinking, learning, right? So some of you may study in areas such as religion and astrology. Some of you may decide to do an online course as opposed to being in a classroom. Some of you at this time may find that you may not want to focus on spirituality or anything regarding religion at all. So some of you that have been very religious may decide at this time that, you know what, it ain't for me. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to have to follow something. I want to live my life. You know, remember that energy of Aquarius. I want to be my own person. You know, you may feel like you're breaking some sort of shackles in terms of religion if you were a religious person beforehand. Okay. Some of you Geminis may decide to travel abroad during this time. Now, again, we are in lockdown for a period of time, but when Saturn goes into Aquarius indefinitely for the next 2 years in December, this could be a time of you wanting to travel, okay? To exotic locations that you always wanted to go to, but you've put off from doing so. Some of you may decide to get into long distance relationships, as well as relationships with people who are of a different cultural background than yourself. Again, travel will be important during this time, especially if it's linked to learning and higher education. After this transit, Gemini, you may well have opened yourself up to a new way of viewing the world and starting a course and sticking to it. All right. So again, just to clarify, for you Geminis, you may get into a relationship with someone. Some of you, because you'll be going into areas of education, not for all of you, but for some of you may decide to learn about different religions, etc. yourself. You may purchase books. Some of you may change your religion. Some of you may leave religion altogether. All right. But some of you may decide that you want to learn about a specific area, such as astrology or spirituality. Okay, and you may go to college to do so, and whilst doing so, you may even connect with someone that you fall in love with. All right, some of you may get into relationships with people from different cultural backgrounds. There will be a lot of travel involved as well. Now, for Taurus, Saturn will be in Aquarius in your 10th house. 10th house rules outer achievements, social status, career, and recognition. Saturn in this area will bring to you, Taurus, a time of maybe being thrown into positions of power. And if you have been in positions of power before, it will be enhanced during this time. Now, I know a lot of Taurus individuals, they're very, very successful. So with Saturn being in Aquarius in your 10th house, you will find that you are thrust more so into the limelight now, into the spotlight. Okay, you may find that you, as I mentioned before, will be thrust into the limelight, especially on the internet. So some of you have been maybe successful behind the scenes, but some of you may decide in the now you want to do something online. You know, you want to make your position, you want people to know about you, or you, even if you don't, your work will be, you know, put on a certain platform where it is public property for some of you. Okay, so some of you thinking about starting an online blog, YouTube channel, or an online shop will do so during this period, and you'll find that your project will really take off during this time. Congratulations, Taurus, you deserve it. And I'm not just saying that because you guys work really hard, and you do deserve it. You'll be more likely to stick to your jobs and projects during this transit also. Progress around areas of recognition may be slow. Remember, Saturn is going to be there, yeah? However, as Saturn will be in this area, however, with the energies of Aquarius in this house, which is all about independence and detachment, you will focus more on the future of your ideas and goals, which you will see through to the end. So although there's going to be a little bit of restriction there, remember, that's just Saturn being Saturn, right? Saturn can't help being annoying, right? The energies of Aquarius, that detachment, that, you know, thinking about the future, thinking about the end result, will spur you on. And the energies of Saturn, although may be a little bit annoying for you, Taurus, it's also going to help you to see the situation and the project through. Okay, So Saturn also being in Taurus may result, sorry, Saturn also being in, sorry, Uranus also being in Taurus, I feel will help you. Because remember, Uranus is in Taurus at the moment. Uranus is all about, you know, eccentricity, breaking out of the mold, doing things that are out of the box. And remember, Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, okay? And you'll be taking on that Aquarian like energy anyway, with Aquarius being in Saturn and then Taurus being, Uranus being in Taurus. So that will, I feel, will ease the burden. Although Taurus and Aquarius are square each other, there's going to be a level of restriction there, but at the same time, with Uranus being thrown into the mix, I feel that's going to be able to make you ease your way out of it. All right. So some of you, a lot of you, will be working for yourself. And as I mentioned before, Uranus being in Taurus, you may feel more obliged to take that leap of faith and embark on your own path, giving you that courage. Because remember, Tauruses are fixed signs, and fixed signs such as myself, I'm a Leo, and even Aquarius is a fixed sign. They like to stay with the same old, okay? But at the same time, Aquariuses, they like to, you know, think outside the box. They like to do their own thing. They like to be trailblazers, and you will have that energy to do what you always wanted to do, but you put off for a long time. Okay. So with regards to relationships, your relationships may be of public property, not for all of you, but for some of you. So some of you may find that during this time, you go out with somebody that is in the public eye. Not for all of you, but for others of you, you may go out with someone that is the popular person in the area, or the popular person at work, right? Some of you may even end up going out with your boss, for instance, okay? Let's see what else. Someone that is in a high position as well. So if you've been single, you may end up with someone that is in a high position, or someone in a high position will be admiring you because they'll see you as their equal. That's not for all of you, that's for some of you. Someone who has a large following on social media also springs to mind. Saturn in Aquarius for you Tauruses will teach you to execute those ideas and plans that you have put off for a long time. Okay. Now that you will be doing so, eventually you'll get to the top, but you have to stay dedicated to your path despite the restrictions. Now, just to clarify for you, Taurus, in regards to your romance and your love life, I definitely feel, because I did mention that, you know, 10th house is all about recognition. So some of you may, during this time, want your relationship to be recognized. So some of you may decide to, if you're thinking about getting married, have some sort of lavish wedding, or some of you may propose to your partner in front of everyone, or your partner may propose to you in front of everyone. But in terms of your love life, I definitely feel there could be an area of, you know, your love life, if it's been kept a secret, or if you've been dating someone, you may introduce this person to your family, or this person may introduce you to their family. Something's going to be put on public display, okay? And again, some of you may be getting married during this time, okay? Especially when Saturn goes into Aquarius indefinitely. A surprise proposal, all right, in front of everyone. And you may be thinking to yourself, but my partner's so shy, I didn't even know my partner wanted to get married. This is the type of energy, okay? Now, Saturn in Aquarius for Aries will be transiting your 11th house. This house rules group activities, aspirations, friends, and society. For some of you Aries, you may find that you find it harder to make new connections excuse me, with others, maybe preferring to stick to your own group of friends. And at times you may not want to socialize at all. But with Aquarius in this house for you, Aries, you may make a network with different friends who are exceptionally different from yourself. Now, with the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, and it's all about friends and networking and socializing. But with Saturn being in that house, there may be a bit of restrictions around connecting with new people. However, with Aquarius being in Saturn, this will, you know, I feel, lessen the grip of Saturn in terms of blockages around this, and give you more of an energy of, you know, even being a little bit cautious with Saturn being in that sign. But at the same time, with Aquarius being in its home house, which is the 11th house, it will give you more of a feeling of wanting to connect, even though you may be a little bit reserved in doing so. Okay, so you may join different social groups during this time, Aries, such as choirs, parent groups, exercise classes. Some of you may enjoy the everyday interaction with these newfound friends. Others of you may find these group associations restrictive and too conforming. Okay, relationships in this house for you, Aries, may suddenly turn, you may turn friendships into relationships. So you may have been friends with someone beforehand, or you may encounter a friend and it turns into a relationship, which may result in a long-term commitment. Some of you, Aries, may decide to online date if you haven't before, and you may push for friendships as being a baseline of your relationship. So even if you connect with someone, you will want it to have a more friendship-like energy about it, as opposed to just it being all about passion. Maybe you've been all about passion before, maybe you went in head first into a relationship, but you're going to really take the time out and think, you know what, I want to be able to enjoy my time spent with my partner. So let's see how we get on as friends first, or does it have that friendship element within my relationship? Okay. In connections, in romantic relationships, you will have a series of undertone of friendships, first and foremostly, as mentioned before. For you, Aries, I feel your lesson through this transit is to branch out and make new acquaintances, and not to abandon them when you feel things are not going the way you want. Okay, so this for you, Aries, is a chance to meet with different people, and maybe people out of your social, your social safety net. So maybe you've always gravitated towards a certain group of people in the past, but now that Saturn will be transiting your 11th house, you may be forced to connect with others that you wouldn't necessarily connect with, right? Some people that are completely different from yourself, right? Or people that are like yourself. Okay. But it's also a time for you not to abandon a friendship or a relationship if it gets too much, right? Or if you feel like, oh, they're not for me. This is a time for you to see things through. By all means, if something is just like toxic and negative, then please excuse yourself. But I feel that part of the lesson here is to step out of your comfort zone and connect with others. Okay, so Saturn in Aquarius for Pisces. Okay, for you, Pisces, it will be in your 12th house. Now, 12th house is a house of secrets, hidden enemies, karma, and the unconscious. During this time, Pisces, you will find that you will be faced with hidden truths about yourself and about others. During this time, you will have gone through a transformation which will take some of you on a journey of self-discovery. Okay, some of you will decide to see a counselor during this time, or learn about the hidden mysteries of the universe. Some of you may decide to see psychics, tarot readers during this time. Make sure you come and see me. Yeah, my information will be in the description box below. No, I'm being serious. During this time, I'll become a psychic yourself, or an astrologer, or a tarot reader. Some of you may unravel long-standing, shocking family secrets, and some of you may experience a sense of karma, as the 12th house is the karma house, with Saturn being in that house as well as Aquarius. I feel that hidden restrictions that have kept you bounded in the past could be transformed and broken for good, but you may have to find unique ways in which you can work through these patterns. You may have a secret relationship during this time, because 12th house is all about secrets. Okay, or a relationship may break up but would not be known to family and friends. Again, relationships started now will have an energy of mystery around it. You may find a partner to be very mysterious and detached, but that very thing may keep you intrigued to stay. However, if starting a new relationship, you may want to keep this new relationship private. Saturn transit in your 12th house, Pisces, I feel will allow you to face your shadow self. What you have tried to repress will now come to the surface, with you learning about ways in which you can transform certain areas of your life. So 12th house is all about transformation for me. All right. It's not as dark as the 8th house, but it has that similar tone. And I feel that this will be a time for you, Pisces, where you will transform. Like I mentioned before, some sort of hidden family secret will be revealed, and some of you can have some sort of breakthrough. But it's gonna be a time where you will have to really dig deep and maybe unearth certain parts in your mind that you didn't want to visit, and you may need to be guided through these areas of your mind with the help of a psychologist or a counselor. Some of you may find that you are going to be in a very therapeutic, transformative connection with others. Some of you may be in secret relationships that you may not want anyone to know about. You may want to keep your relationships very sacred, even secret friendships as well. Some of you may decide to, and secret relationships is the umbrella. Some of you may go into relationships with people that are already with someone already, or you could be with someone already and you decide to start dating. That's for some of you, not for all of you. But I feel that the focus will mainly be on you, transforming yourself, unearthing things that you've hidden and pushed down. So with Saturn being in Aquarius, that was my take on how I feel it's going to affect us all. But in general, Saturn will be transiting all those houses that I just discussed. And I hope that throughout this experience, we're all able to transform through it. You know, we all do good and be good to each other, and hopefully be renewed throughout it all. Guys, that was me again. I will speak to you all soon. And if you guys like this type of interaction, let me know. I might do another video like this as well, whereby you guys can ask me questions and I'll be answering all your questions. You can ask me what you want to know about me, because I've been on this channel for 2 years, and I think it's only right that you guys get to know a little bit about me. So if you guys want to know some things about me, then please comment below, and yeah, I'll do a video answering your questions. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I'll speak to you guys soon. Take care of yourself. Peace out.